Film analysis, Yes, God, Yes, 2019. Yes, God, Yes is an independent dramedy directed by Karen Main based on her 2017 short film of the same name. The feature follows the story of Alice, played by Natalia Dyer, best known for her role in Stranger Things, a Catholic teenager in the early 2000s who begins to deal with her sexual awakening in an extremely repressive environment. The plot revolves around Alice's sexual discovery as she grows up in a religious community marked by guilt, repression, and rigid morality. While trying to understand her desires, she is constantly reminded that sex outside of marriage is a sin. The film humorously yet critically exposes the hypocrisy within religious institutions that preach purity and abstinence, but where many people, in practice, do not follow what they preach. The title itself reflects this tension, the contrast between the yes of pleasure and the God of moral repression. Characters: Alice. Innocent, curious, and confused, Alice represents many teenagers raised in conservative environments who suffer from not having a safe space to explore their sexuality without guilt. Priest and religious leaders. They symbolize moral repression, often filled with contradictions. Retreat classmates. They illustrate how young people reproduce or pretend to reproduce those values, but often with hypocritical attitudes. Tone and style. The film has a light and ironic tone, avoiding excessive drama. The early 2000s setting is reinforced by nostalgic elements such as online chat rooms, old cell phone ringtones, and music from the era. This aesthetic creates a sense of closeness for those who lived through that period while softening the more delicate themes. Criticism and reflection. The film's strength lies in its critique of sexual repression and religious guilt, showing how deeply these factors can affect the natural development of young people. It raises reflections on the weight of guilt in the process of self-discovery, institutionalized hypocrisy in religious environments, and the importance of questioning dogmas imposed without explanation. Trivia. 1. Based on personal experience. Director Karen Main grew up in a Catholic environment in the early 2000s and used her own experiences as inspiration for the screenplay. 2. Short film before the feature. Before the feature, Main released a short film of the same name in 2017, also starring Natalia Dyer. The short was so successful at festivals that it became the foundation for the full-length film. 3. Modest budget. The feature was made with a relatively low budget by Hollywood standards, reinforcing its independent nature. 4. Natalia Dyer and Stranger Things. Casting Natalia Dyer in the lead role helped draw attention to the film, as she was already widely recognized for Stranger Things. 5. Short runtime. The film runs only 78 minutes, which is considered short for a feature-length film. This makes the storytelling tighter and more direct. 6. Festival premiere. Yes, God, Yes premiered at South by Southwest in 2019, one of the largest independent film festivals in the United States. 7. Period satire. The movie includes nostalgic references from the early 2000s, such as AOL Instant Messenger chat rooms, which were extremely popular at the time. Lessons from the film Yes, God, Yes 2019. 1. Hypocrisy is universal. Often those who preach purity and morality the most are the ones hiding the greatest contradictions. 2. Self-discovery is inevitable. Repression may delay the process, but it cannot prevent someone from discovering and understanding their own sexuality. 3. Questioning is essential. Blindly accepting dogmas can lead to frustration and suffering. Learning to question imposed norms is a fundamental part of personal growth. On Rotten Tomatoes, Yes, God, Yes 2019 holds a 92% approval rating from critics based on 126 reviews and a 65% audience score from over 500 ratings, with critics praising Natalia Dyer's performance and Karen Main's sensitive direction. Now, here's our opinion.
Yes, God, Yes, 2019 is a film that pleasantly surprised me. I wasn't expecting much at first and didn't know exactly what it was about, but I decided to give it a chance because of the competent cast. Right from the beginning, we see that the protagonist, Alice, is a young girl living in a religious environment, she attends a Christian school with a strict doctrine. At the start, we see Alice in a confessional, confessing only minor mistakes and receiving simple penances, like saying a certain number of Our Fathers and Hail Marys. Later, during a class about personal relationships and boundaries, the priest emphasizes that intimate relationships should only happen after marriage and for family purposes. When a student asks about private self-exploration, he says that it is also considered wrong. Alice then goes to a religious retreat, where we meet Nina, a young, exemplary girl who leads the camp and initially seems perfect. However, Alice discovers that the priest himself secretly consumes inappropriate material for adults and that Nina secretly has romantic relationships with boys at the camp. These discoveries leave Alice confused and frustrated because everything she was taught conflicts with the actual behavior of these people. At one point, still frustrated and confused, Alice goes to a bar and orders a drink. There, she meets a motorcyclist who starts a conversation after noticing the camp emblem on Alice's clothing. The motorcyclist reveals that she attended the same camp when she was Alice's age and that she was also religious. She shares that, at the time, she felt guilty even about trivial and minor things, believing that everything could be wrong. Alice deeply identifies with these confessions, and this conversation helps her see life from a different perspective, reflecting on the morality and hypocrisy she witnesses at the retreat. In the climax of the film, Alice directly challenges the priest's hypocrisy. When she confesses that she watched an adult-themed movie, she describes the content exactly as he had done in secret. The priest, visibly uncomfortable, simply gives her a long list of penances without realizing he is being confronted. This final scene highlights the film's central critique, the hypocrisy within religious communities. I personally related strongly to the film because I also grew up in a religious environment, studying at a Christian school and attending church on weekends. I used to be evangelical, and I remember that, as a young person, I had a very innocent view of these matters. I was completely shocked the day I discovered that all the young people in my church were already engaged in intimate relationships, while I was the only one who hadn't. I am not exaggerating, it's true. Remember Nina, the exemplary girl in the film? Well, in my church, there was also a young man like that, my best friend, exemplary, a leader in some meetings. He also lied to me, claiming he was inexperienced when he wasn't. Additionally, I discovered that the leaders and more important members of the church were unfaithful, having romantic relationships outside their marriages. All these situations made me deeply uncomfortable at the time. Because of this, I never attended church again, as I didn't feel comfortable in such a contradictory environment. They preach one thing at the altar, but in real life, they act differently. The film is smart, critical, and truthful. It makes the viewer reflect on the hypocrisy and contradictions present in many religious communities. I recommend it both to religious and non-religious people, as it addresses a reality that, unfortunately, exists and needs to be discussed. That's all for now. Session closed. Thank you for watching this video. Your interaction is important. Please press the like button. If you want to see more content, subscribe to this channel. I will be very grateful. And if all goes well, see you in the next video. Until then.